The first 6 months, 12 months of starting social media, everything's so fun, you get the attention, you have the followers, and you become kind of addicted to, receiving likes and the algorithm dictates your life. But at the end of the day, the algorithm also dictates your living. If you're performing well, you get paid with the viewership. If you're performing well, you're getting brand deals. So we needed to find a way to get a sustainable source of income without relying on working with brands and viewership. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Hello. Welcome to Beyond the Hype.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. You're my first guest.
Glad to be.
I'm doing this podcast because I really want to, not because it is a school assignment, but I'm very excited to do this. And so this is my friend Alex from AT Frenchies. You probably watch his content on TikTok, Instagram, all around social media.
If you're learning French, you might be. Yeah,
exactly.
We created AT Frenchies back in 2021, right during the pandemic. Tom and I were college students playing soccer. That's actually how we ended up going to the US. We are on the soccer scholarships back in the days, and we were like, let's start making videos about the French language, about French culture, and we got started. And right off the start, it was just so much fun being able to share our culture to people that are so passionate about France. And it's been like this for the last 5 years. And I'm excited to share more about what I do for a living and all the things we've done in the last 5 years. So let's get started.
Yeah, and you and I, we met like 4 or 5 years ago.
We did. In LA, here, two mutual friends, and did work together with brands and other stuff. So, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And it's a little deja vu because Alex and I used to have a podcast together.
We did.
And it was really fun, but hopefully we'll we still know how to do it.
Of course. We'll see.
He's way better than I am. So he's going to help me out a little bit since this is the first episode. But how about we jump into the question?
Okay.
And so again, I know you just introduced yourself and how you started on TikTok, and you posted like your first video with Tom back in
2021?
2020.
2020, you're right.
Yeah.
Thanks for correcting me.
You guys were both in college, again, like you said, not in California, like you were in Wisconsin.
Yeah, so, we started TikTok. I was a student at the University of Wisconsin Parkside in Kenosha area. Tom was a student in Mississippi, and we both wanted to kind of escape of the COVID thing and go on vacation somewhere where we could all forget about it. We were in Charleston, South Carolina. Tom and I love surfing. And just one day, Tom came up with the idea of, hey, everybody's on TikTok, everybody is on lockdown. Let's do something about it. Let's create content. And at first I was like, maybe not. I wasn't really comfortable by the idea of doing social media content because there was so many stereotypes around people doing dances with trans, people, doing thirst traps. And I wasn't really the type of guy who was interested in making this type of content. And nobody else was doing things around French culture and language. So Tom had this idea of doing it, and I just trusted him when, full on it. And thank God I did, because without it, we would have never been here. And
5 years from now, look where you are now.
I would have probably had a completely different job, and most likely into soccer, because that was the only thing I was passionate about.
Yeah, you grew up playing soccer. But okay, so you guys just started posting videos. It kind of blew up.
Right away.
Yeah. And TikTok was I remember when I met you, you were collaborating with a bunch of people coming out to LA, doing the kind of typical, I'm blowing up on social media, so I'm coming out to LA. But he did not drop out of school, so I just want a round of applause for that.
Thank you. Yeah. It was very important for me to not drop out of school. I mean, I was so passionate about what I was studying, which was international business, and I had the chance to play sports at the same time. So there was no way for me that I was going to quit school unless I was becoming the next Charlie D'Amelio. And that wasn't the case. But like you said, I first came to LA 6 months after starting social media because everyone was kind of doing this. And LA was the place where Networking was great. You were going to meet people and grow your brand, because at the end of the day, it's important to understand that content creators aren't just influencers. There are most people out there trying to grow their brand that are entrepreneurs, and all of the people that you see doing brand collaborations isn't what's making them live. So I'm sure we'll be diving under those topics.
And and also, like, again, I met you when you were hanging out at the Wish House.
Yes.
It was a content, like, you guys were making content in this, like, what, like,
a content creator house.
Like, content creator house in a $150 million house in Bel Air. It was pretty insane. But you're already, I remember you're already kind of making videos about, like, the French culture, but it was more, sort of like, you knew you were like a kind of like pretty boy who like played soccer and was like, I look good.
Also, it's part of our brand.
Yeah, exactly. People like the French accent. And I feel like initially that's kind of what it was, and now you kind of jumped into a very serious, like...
Yeah, I wouldn't say serious, because
like more very education oriented.
Of course.
It's more...
It's one thing to do great content. Of course, lots of people, they first watch content because they might be attracted to the person who's talking to. And that's definitely something that we've played on at first. We knew that at 19, 20 years old, we were okay looking, decent looking to kind of play the pretty boy.
College athlete.
Exactly.
Like,
But in a very humble way. There was going to be no way that I was going to, go shirtless in all of my videos and be braggy about it.
I know.
But yeah, I think it's one thing that I did not want our brand to be attached to is obviously being just pretty boys. Okay.
Yeah. When did that transition happen? Because I know, like, at first you were coming out to LA and you were like collaborating with all those kids, I remember. And then at some point you just started kind of like doing your own thing and kind of focusing on like growing the AT Frenchies brand, and instead of just, you know what I mean?
So the first 6 months, 12 months of starting social media, everything's so fun. You get the attention, you have the followers, and you become kind of addicted to, receiving likes, and the algorithm dictates your life. But at the end of the day, the algorithm also dictates your living. If you're performing well, you get paid with the viewership. If you're performing well, you're getting brand deals. So we needed to find a way to get a sustainable source of income without relying on working with brands and viewership. And so we started digging into things we could do that weren't being done. And this is why we decided to create a French club. We were thinking, how can we help Francophiles? For the people who don't know, Francophiles or fans of everything French. How can we help them learn the language and feel like they're in France without being physically in France? So we started looking what Duolingo offered, what Babbel offered, and what all of these language platforms were offering, so we could create something into one. So we created a French club that's basically, imagine a social club with only fans of French language. So we offer French pre-recorded lessons filmed by myself and my social media partner. We have an AI, which allows people to practice with my voice 24/7, like they're on the phone with me. We have certified teachers from France that are teaching lessons every single day. We have discounts on flights, on hotels, and it's just a huge community of mostly American people. And it's been amazing. I feel like changing people's life and doing business in this way is very good. I go to bed, I know that I help people.
Talking more about the business of being an influencer, I have like more technical questions.
Yeah.
Not like the influencer side of it, but more the business side of it for businesses. Like, what is the biggest misconception that, when a brand is approaching you, or that big brands are approaching you and they think like, some of them are just like, they have a lot of followers, we need them, but sometimes it's just like, just doesn't work. Like if you ever like, even you, if you have ever been part of a brand deal, like sponsorship, and like, you're like, okay, I like the brand, I agree with like their standards, but I'm not really the right fit for them, but I'm still gonna do it because it's cool.
Let's talk about, obviously collaborating with brands. It's such a hot topic, and everybody thinks that we're making millions of dollars from it. Tom and I, with 80 Frenchies, we have a community of about 5 million people. People might think that brands pay us a lot of money for, partnering with LVMH, partnering with, I don't know, Airbnb. But no, that's not true. That really isn't the truth. To be really frank with you, someone with a similar audience is going to charge about 10 to 15,000 for a video on TikTok or Instagram. That's a lot of money. And that's, anybody would be super happy to make this type of money.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not like a $150,000 contract for a video. You see numbers, I see numbers if you type 80 Frenchies net worth that is like 4 or 5 million. I wish, but I've never had a contract that's $4 or $5 million.
It's too humble.
No, genuinely. At least not from doing brand collaborations, whether it's a big name or not. And that's actually a good insight is the bigger the brand is most of the time, the less they'll pay you. And I'll give you an example. We work with Ralph Lauren during the Olympics. We work with Lacoste during Roland Garros. We work with Moët and Chandon, part of the LVMH group. Mm-hmm. These brands have not paid us. We have not been paid a single penny.
They think that you're lucky to work with them.
Correct. No, but that's. But also, this is part of the game. It's an industry where you need to understand how lucky you are for working with this brand. You're obviously giving them a platform, and you're promoting them for free. But at the same time, you're helping your credibility because let's say 80 Frenchie has worked with Ralph Lauren. That's going to drive more business.
Yeah.
And so you need to think about those things. I wouldn't say don't take everything for free. That's the biggest mistake influencers do with collaborations. They settle for nothing. Oh, I'll send you free products. You want the makeup? I'll send you makeup. Just do like 4 videos. No, this is slavery, right? You don't do that. Unless there is an interest from you as a business, as a business person, then yeah. But I think that some company and some brands are taking advantage of influencers, especially the ones that aren't aware of how much they should be paid. And I think it's really unfortunate.
But it is also like crazy because that job, that lifestyle that you have gives you so many opportunities in terms of going to crazy events. Like you're going to the US Open really soon.
Yeah.
You're going to the big dinner at the White House.
The White House Correspondents' Dinner, yeah.
Those are a huge thing, but also if you think about it, it's like, this is crazy shit. It's so cool.
At 24, if you would have told me 10 years ago you were going to film a video with, French President Emmanuel Macron.
Yeah.
You're going to film a video with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, or you're going to do all these type of things, I would have told you, hell no. I would have told you there's no way. But it's just like things that, and it's very stressful. Trust me, especially when on social media you have a character. And for us, I play often this American character called Chad. And I love playing with my American accent. And so when you have the president in front of you, it's really hard to choose between either being serious, so your real self, or being this character. And so it's kind of, I'm not calling myself an actor, but sometimes it triggers your brain.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And so during the interview with the president, like maybe I overdo and I go a little crazy, and then I go back to normal. And so lots of pressure into that. You cannot make a mistake with spelling, and French is such a hard language, and I often make mistakes, but that's the kind of, event where you can't. And
you did. I mean, I'm really jealous because you did make a video with Elmo from Sesame Street.
With Cookie Monster.
With Cookie Monster, right?
Yeah. It's with Cookie Monster and Elmo. We did videos with them. Okay, that's actually a funny story. During the Olympics, NBC called us one random morning, and they're like, "You're gonna do a video with Sesame Street." And so I'm French. I was born in France, and my friend and I are like, "Great. What is Sesame Street?"
He didn't know what Sesame Street was. Okay, the big difference between Alex and I is that he grew up playing soccer. So not really stuck in front of a TV. I did not grow up playing much sports. Therefore, Sesame Street was a core memory for me.
Yeah. Well, so they say that, and we're like, so what is it? And the production team at NBC is telling us what they're very, very famous Muppets. Yeah, very famous Muppets. And they want to film a video around French language because the wife of Elmo's character loves your guys' video. And I was like, sure, let's do it. And so we go to the studio and we see the Muppet, and the Muppet is like, oh, we love like your series of French homophones. So words that sound the same that have different meanings, like mère for sea, but mère for mother.
Okay.
And so he's like, all right, so let's do this. And the Muppets start talking, how do you say sea in French? And we say mère. How do you say mother? Mère. How do you say grandmother? Mère. And then it just goes with the flow. And then, I mean, I've started watching Sesame Street now just for fun because it was unreal.
Sesame Street is amazing. Yeah, you should see what they posted on Instagram the day Trump got elected. It's funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
It was a great memory for sure. Or even like just, being able to stay for a whole week at a hotel, and our little roommate neighbor was Michael Phelps too. Like, you wake up, you go to breakfast with Michael Phelps, and everything's normal. Like one of the greatest athletes of all time. And that's probably one of the things I'm the second most grateful for after our audience. And we treat our audience like we treat family. We're really, we try to be careful with the brands we collaborate with, because nowadays influencer, they're so money driven. They will take any brand deals because they want money, they want to be rich, and that's what they think they need to have. For us, we probably say no to brands every week because they're not a right fit. Let's say you're doing like a little machine to get abs. Why would I promote that? You are having a brand that is for tiramisu. I do French content, not Italian content. So it's key to treat your audience like family, so build trust.
I watch your content because obviously I'm a great friend to support my friends, and also you're doing quality content.
I try.
I know you know how to balance that entertainment / education content really well. Like you just mentioned, like your character Chad, or like just
like the Midwest boy, the Southern boy.
Exactly,
and,
I know. Like you're
playing the super Parisian guy. The content you put out there isn't random. And if there's influencers out there that are taking their phone and shooting a video and just posting it, then good for them. But that's not our approach. We really deal like this, kind of like a business. Who is our audience? Who is our audience? Who is going to be watching this video? How old is that person going to be? Where is this person going to be from? All of these type of things.
So I just on a more technical side, like the data part of all of this, how do you kind of...
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I wake up in the morning, and the morning is when I feel the most inspired, and at night. So I have periods of time in the morning where I wake up. So I wake up around 7, and then at 8 a.m., I'm going to sit down on my desk, and I'm like, we're going to create content. But before we create the content, I'm going to think of the audience first. So let's say today I'm going to make a video about French stereotypes. Okay? So we're going to take an example of the French being super romantic. Who is going to watch this type of content? Women. Okay? Mostly women. Where are the women going to be from? Mostly the United States. Let's take a look at, what are the recent cities we have been trending. Los Angeles, Boston, Miami, all these little things. You need to understand and decrypt, and read it.
Decry, like you gotta very...
You gotta hack the algorithm.
You kind of,
There is a lot of...
You gotta be a step ahead.
Correct. There's a lot of uncertainty, but I think there are ways of creating content that's gonna work. So we take a look at the audience, and we make a video for them. So for example, today, I talked about the difference between being in your early 30s in the US and being in your early 30s in France.
Very funny video.
And thank you. And so I know that the last couple of weeks we've been trendy in some areas in the Midwest and the South of the United States, like Alabama, Mississippi. And I looked at what people between 28 and 32 kind of do, and what kind of lifestyle they have, and what kind of accent they have. And so I research. Boom, I write my script. Obviously, I use a little bit of AI, and I'm sure we'll touch base on the future of social media and AI, but I write my script, and then I start acting it out, And when I film, I think about my audience. Every time I think that my audience, the perfect person representing my audience, is in front of me. So let's say, like for this video, for example, I was picturing, a person from Ohio being in their 30s and listening to me. Would I be credible? Would I be relatable? Would they feel that this is something that they would see back home? And so I do that. I film the video, and then I do the same for the French aspect.
I was going to ask you a question about, the role like you as an educational influencer,
Okay.
how do you ensure credibility and accuracy in the information you share? Because, fake news is a
That
big
is
thing
scary.
nowadays. Yeah. I'll let you like get on with that because I think.
So I have a fun story to introduce the topic.
Yes.
Recently, I've posted a video about the New Year's Eve in France.
Okay.
And so I found a video online of the Eiffel Tower having fireworks. And I was like, oh, well, that's so amazing. That's probably what's happening on New Year's Eve in Paris. I'm going to post it and talk about it.
No way.
And I didn't make any research. For me, it was obvious. If I saw this video the same day on January 1st, that means that it happened around that time. And I see the comment section being like, what are you doing? These fireworks happened during 14th of July, which is Independence Day. I did not know. And so,
And he grew up in Paris.
and I grew up in Paris, a few minutes away from the Eiffel Tower, which is insane for me not knowing this. Anyway, I think it's really important on social media to be able to make research because you're supposed to be an expert in the things you share, but mistakes are allowed. I've made mistakes once, twice, 3 times. I mean, it happens. It just cannot be every single day because you're losing credibility. Your audience at the end of the day is following you, especially in our industry, education, to learn something new, to get better at something. So if you're teaching them wrong things or false information, it can be really negative on your brand. So what we do now, and what I try to do is I try to go online, double check my facts, sometimes use, again, a bit of AI. AI is not always right, so you always have to check your sources. And the good thing is I work with my best friend, Tom, and so we double check everybody's editing, everybody's research. So that's the good thing about being two is that. But once again, you really have to be careful, and because there's lots of things out there, and you're the one sharing knowledge, so really be careful.
Now we're going to talk about why engagement matters more than followers.
Oh, yeah.
And again, you and Tom have built an incredible community. Just being able to, I just remember when I took photos for that thing you were doing at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like 2 summers ago.
Correct.
Oh, no, last summer?
That was 2 summers ago.
2 summers ago. And it's crazy that you were just bringing people together. And even like you with them.
Yeah. Engagement on social media is the
Like you did more than like beyond the screen,
Yeah. Engagement is the number one factor that brands are going to look into. Following is the thing that, it's like the flashy things. Oh my God, he has 1 million, 2 million followers. Like, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, surviving in social media is being consistent. And so you have lots of people that have millions of followers, but that aren't relevant anymore.
Influential. Like having 10 million followers doesn't really make you influential at the end.
Oh, exactly. And that's why lots of brands are struggling with it, with people buying followers or, just being done influencing people. And so that's why it's really important to look at what's the engagement. How do you calculate an engagement rate? Simple. How many followers do you engage compared to your following? So let's say it's like, around for the mega influencers, so people that have more than 1 million, I think that the percentage is like 3-4%. If you can engage 3-4% every single day of your audience, that's really good.
Okay.
That's something that helps brand feel comfortable investing in you because they know that they're going to reach those 4-5%. And it's not that easy. Your audience is people that you have to almost feed every day. And that's how you get a good engagement rate. You post stories, you post carousels, you use all the tools out there to brand yourself, but also help people understand you and get to know you. And some people, sometimes they don't want to learn. So it happens that sometimes they just want to see what you're up to. And creating that engagement can be a challenge because it goes way beyond making funny content and teaching people French. You have to let people in your private circle, and sometimes that's actually my little challenge. I don't like when people see my girlfriend or when they see all the things I do, but I try to share as much as possible because this is kind of what I'm supposed to do. And sometimes in social media, you're not free of doing anything you want. That's a big stereotype. You're not free of doing anything you want.
again, your job is giving you so many opportunities, and you never know what's going to happen next.
Correct.
How it kind of like literally change your life.
And that's the most beautiful thing about it. You know, it's some people are different, but with me is I love not knowing what tomorrow will look like. I like to plan, and when you're an entrepreneur and have some businesses on the side, you need to make sure, you know, you have things planned. You can't just be last minute. It can't just be spontaneous. But sometimes like being spontaneous is good. Not having a plan, telling yourself like, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna, you know, travel to a new country, or I'm gonna launch this new idea and I have no clue on how to make it happen, but I'm just gonna do it. And you're gonna fail, you're gonna make mistakes. Lots of videos, for example, the video of yesterday when I looked at it after editing it, I was like, that thing is, it's kind of silly. I don't think I should post that. And I still did.
But again, you never know.
And exactly, you never know.
You never know the outcome. You never know how. You never know how it might impact somebody's life. Like you were telling me a story about somebody you met in New
York City. Yeah. Impacting life is one of the reasons why I still do what I do. Is money's great, follower count is great, but this is superficial. Well, money is not really, it pays my bills, but I'm saying like...
It's a mean, not a necessary.
Correct.
Like
changing people's life will genuinely create a fire in you that's going to allow you to just push your limits. And so the story of this girl in New York, she came to me at a restaurant when I was eating with Tom, and she said, hey guys, like, do you mind if I quickly share my story about how I started following you guys? And Tom and I were like, absolutely, honestly, just take a seat. If you want to get the dessert with us, just take a seat. And she was really, really struggling with anxiety, with mental health during COVID, being isolated in her apartment, locked down, not being able to do anything. And she also struggled for years with learning French. She took it in high school, took it in college, and never really got beyond a very basic level. And when she found AT Frenchies, when we started, it's like a long time ago, she just find that motivation and that spark that made her want to learn again and get back into classes and have that daily kind of motivation of these two funny guys making the language fun. And when she said that, she was saying that almost crying, because she has French ancestry and it was such an important thing for her. And if she went through this, that means maybe another person did, maybe a third, a fourth, a fifth, hundreds of people.
And that's what makes you influential. So we're talking about AI influencers.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, you shouldn't be scared of AI. It's something that no matter what your industry, it's going to impact you. And so you need to control it before it controls you. So for us, we use AI for sometimes help us write script, but it cannot define the whole brand. So it will help you, but you need to keep your authenticity at the end of the day. So use AI as a tool, but don't think that AI is going to make you famous. I don't think AI is going to replace influencers anytime soon. You're going to have AI influencers, certainly, but at the end of the day, people are looking for storytelling. They're looking for a story. And I don't think AI has that yet. And I don't think brands are going to start collaborating with random AIs. I don't think it's happening anytime.
And that's the biggest thing about marketing. I can't believe I spent this whole podcast without even mentioning the power of storytelling, and which is literally what your job is, being a storyteller all day long.
People don't buy products or services, they buy a story.
Exactly.
Most companies, most things that are around us have stories, and this is why we purchase and buy them. And this is the whole purpose of marketing. So this is why AI is not close from replacing content creators, okay? Master AI, use AI, and do not be scared of it.
You can call this person like very influential.
Stop it.
Oh, I'm just. Don't worry, I'm not hyping you up too much. That's the truth. I thought I was gonna spend this past hour just talking BS about his job and calling him out, but.
Oh, maybe next time. Maybe we'll do a part 2.
Maybe next time. Maybe I'll wait until you get canceled for that.
Oh wow, fingers crossed now.
No, fingers crossed.
Marcelo, thank you, merci. As we say in French, merci,
Je
merci.
t'en prie. Thank you for coming. Merci d'être venu.
Avec plaisir.
You're such a busy man, he's.
No. I'm a happy person, and that's what matters.
Damn. Yeah, I'm happy that you're happy.
There you go.
All right.
À bientôt tout le monde. See
Good
you, see
night.
ya.